I'm Sai, I'm 27 and I'm a photographer and designer, and this is my story. I guess when I was growing up I always felt a bit different. I didn't quite fit in with all my friends at school. I thought maybe I was just a bit of a loner. I felt a bit isolated. It wasn't necessarily that I felt victimised, or I don't feel like it was because of other people. I was just aware that I wasn't like everyone else. I started to question myself and my identity and who I was, and college came and went, and I did a drama course and met lots of eccentric people and you get to act a lot, and so I thought, you know, things had changed and I thought I was more comfortable and I was happy and whatnot, but I guess it was more just because I was doing a drama course. It felt like I was acting, and I ended up moving to Lincoln to do some youth work. Through that I really started to question myself then, because I felt like I was being a leader to these young people, telling them to be happy, to be them and be confident in themselves and that they're loved and they're accepted, when I didn't believe it myself, because I think I couldn't quite admit to myself that, yeah, I knew I was gay, and I didn't want to accept it because I'd grown up in a family that had very Christian morals. We live in a country that's very football and lad orientated, and you know, to be a man is to be butch and to, you know, go out on the pull and chase girls and go drinking and whatnot, and that's what all my friends were doing at school, and I realised that's why I hadn't really ever felt comfortable. And then while I'm working in a youth work environment when lots of people my age were all getting married and meeting people and settling down and being happy and, you know, finally belonging with someone, I felt like I was wrong. I felt like I couldn't be me, like that it was a mistake and that I was a mistake, and yeah, it was a really painful time, and I was angry at God and angry at my parents and angry at myself and angry at everyone else for believing what they believed. It took me a long time to slowly realise that it wasn't going to change, that as much as I wanted it to, this was me. I was into my 20s now and I still didn't want to talk about it, and I still just thought, if it doesn't matter, I can ignore it and it will go away, but it wasn't going to go away. I came across some friends that had quite homophobic attitudes, even though they didn't know they were talking about me. They were just talking about the issue, but they were talking about it in our house, in our living room. Sometimes I'd hear them talking about it when I'm in the next room, and I'd be angry that they have these opinions, that no one was challenging them. And it was around that time that I started to realise that if I don't do something, then who will? And so I realised that I had to talk about it, and I was terrified of what people would think. But the majority of my friends either made a joke or were like, and? Like, it was like they didn't care, but not in the sense that they didn't care. It was just that they were saying that doesn't matter to us. And I realised some of the friends that I'd even been with when I was going through this situation and hadn't talked about it had been going through exactly the same thing. And because I didn't talk about it, other people also felt they couldn't talk about it, and I couldn't help anyone because I wasn't admitting to myself who I was. I wasn't being happy to be me, I was pretending to be someone else. And finally I started to realise that as soon as I was just being myself to my friends and actually letting myself belong, that I could actually help other people. My story was a puzzle, in the sense that I just didn't want to deal with it. In fact, I'd always had a Rubik's Cube all my life, actually. I don't remember where I got my first Rubik's Cube, but I always remember growing up with a Rubik's Cube. There was always one in my house, and I knew it was mine, but I never actually ever attempted to solve it until ironically, a few years ago. To finish a Rubik's Cube, there's always the last few twists where it looks its messiest. It looks like you've ruined the Rubik's Cube, but you have to carry on with that last pattern that you know is right, even though it always looks wrong as you're doing it. Suddenly, it all looks perfect. But before that, it has to go through a lot of changes. It has to go through looking messy. It has to look like everything's all messed up just before you finally solve it. So that's why I've always loved a Rubik's Cube, because it's a very symbolic little puzzle. I think through the whole process I learned that belonging and a sense of acceptance was something so important, not just to me but to whatever anyone's going through, that if you feel isolated and you're on your own and you keep yourself out of it, which is what I did, then it just hurts. It doesn't help you. You need to talk about it. You need to be involved. You need to open up, whatever that is in life. You need to chat about the things that are either troubling you, the things that are scaring you, the things that make you lose sleep at night. Because to treat a wound, you have to get to the wound. Then if you just keep covering it with bandages. Once you feel like you belong and you're accepted, no matter whatever your past, whatever your quirks, it just changes everything, because you certainly have a purpose. You don't feel that you're a mistake, because it's only when you belong and you open up to other people that other people open up back, and you realise that everyone has something. Everyone's got a thorn in their side. Everyone has had to deal with things. Everyone's got things that it's painful to talk about, and everyone's got things that they're not happy about. But it's when you belong and you're open and honest that you realise that it's okay to just not be perfect. That it's okay to just be a mess. It's okay to just go through what life throws at you together. The fact is, I'm happy who I am now. I'm glad that this is my story and this is what I was given, because it's what we go through that helps shape us and makes us who we are.